I am Mark Greenstein. This is a message to Green Party voters in Connecticut and those who have values like the Green Party's values. I share every one of them. I'm a candidate for governor, and let me go down the list as thrown at me from two sources of green values: environmentalism, nonviolence, social justice, grassroots democracy, gender equality, LGBT rights, anti-war, anti-racism. I share your values in all cases. Let me add a few more that I think we share: women's rights, better education, opportunities for single moms, helping the poor, and reducing incarcerations. I think I can accomplish every one of them, make significant strides on every one of them. I'll start at the top. Environmental protection. It is the one area where I would expand government. Right now, the Constitution doesn't protect individuals' rights to clean air and clean water. Now, the Connecticut Constitution does allow this. I'd like to see it at the federal level so we have more protection. Individuals have a property right in the environment. I recognize that. Our governments should. And because a single homeowner is unable to fight against big company that might be polluting, unable to do the science that's necessary to determine whether it is harmful pollution, what the source really is, individuals can't do that. This is where entrusting the government as a custodian for all who might have individual violations against them, it seems like that is worthy. Yes, it would take a constitutional amendment, but it is one that I think we should go at. Everything else on the Green Party agenda is best done with less government. Think more liberty, and you actually help every one of those goals. Here I want to point out that governments use violence or the threat of violence more than anybody else. Please remember that when governments make laws, they're enforceable by guns. Now, they have to, but I'm a fan of making fewer laws. Take seriously the ones that you pass. Eliminate many that you're not taking seriously now. That is more just. Number 2 on the list was social justice. That's such a wide-ranging that I'm not going to address it here. I'm going to do specifics later. Grassroots democracy. Well, I like the roots of the Green Party. They were formed with committees of correspondence back in the 1980s. That is exactly how our country got formed in the 1760s and 1770s. These were colonists that took a lot of guts to be underhandedly undermining the crown of England, the biggest power in the world. By the way, those who formed the revolutionary groups that eventually let us separate from England, they had a lot of guts. Had they not won their Revolutionary War, the leaders would have been hanged. And yet, those leaders, most of them were very wealthy. They had a lot to lose, and by most perceptions, little to gain. But they thought liberty was so paramount that they would fight to the death for gains. The restrictions that people see on grassroots democracy is often because of government tying itself to big business. It's a dangerous combination. Big business uses its extra power, its lobbying power, its excess capacity to push out small. Small is often better for consumers, but big established businesses, they don't want to see these extra upstart entries. Be very wary of democracy gone awry when legislation is in play. Next is gender equality. Well, it's only in government that you see really bad distinctions on gender. And here's why. In the pay realm, private workers can more easily go elsewhere. Now, I would like it easier for state government workers to move elsewhere as well. Wouldn't it be good to treat state like private? You have a high skill set, you're a woman who doesn't feel like she's being paid enough or getting enough responsibility, you have oodles of places in the marketplace to go. And vice versa, very good employees in the marketplace would have state government as a pretty good option for many of them. Okay, LBGT rights, I've mentioned this before, everyone has basic human rights. I would uphold them like anybody else's. Anti-war is next. Well, I am anti-war unless it is a nation-state committing or there's clear evidence of it about to commit predations on our citizens. Okay? I would not have been in favor of going into Vietnam. I was not in favor of going after the Afghan government even after 9/11. It was not a pure government operation that attacked us. Yes, a little bit of support from some militant groups, but 19 vigilantes took over those planes. They're the ones, and maybe they're enablers, that should have been shut down. You don't go to war against innocent people because of the actions of a few. And for that reason, though a governor has very little control over a war decision, I would defend the conscientious objector. Somebody in my state who, whether it's out of principle or even out of fear, I don't want to get hurt. You don't want to go. I will protect you. The Constitution prohibits slavery. Well, when you're conscripting somebody for 2, 3, 4 years into something where they might die, that's a violation of the 13th Amendment. Last one on the list, anti-racism. My 18 promises to African Americans and Latino Americans are pretty strong. The last pockets of pernicious racism in the Northeast, anyway, are actually with governments. Private business, even private clubs now, they don't discriminate based on race. I'm concerned about cops, yes, government employees, who don't get fired even if they are using racist mentality to do bad things. I'm concerned about racism in the schools. I'm concerned about other government employment because they're harder to remove. Now, you can't remove people because of thoughts, but bad actions, whether they're propelled by bad racist thoughts or not, but they're bad and they affect somebody of a different color, that is a group of employees that I would like to rein in.